The HOA meeting room went quiet when Mrs. Dalton, better known in the neighborhood as HOA Karen, held up the small gray flip phone like it was a piece of trash she'd found on the sidewalk. She smirked and said it loud enough for everyone to hear. That outdated thing doesn't belong in a modern community. The phone belonged to Frank Alvarez, a 72-year-old widower who sat calmly in his folding chair. Frank didn't argue. He never did. He simply closed the phone, slipped it into his jacket pocket, and listened as the board voted to fine him for non-compliance with community technology standards. Yes, that was actually written in the notice, neighbors whispered. Some laughed nervously. Karen looked pleased with herself. Frank had lived in the community for 12 years. He didn't own a smartphone because he didn't want one. The flip phone had bigger buttons, longer battery life, and, most important, it always worked. He'd learned that lesson decades ago, back when reliability meant more than looking impressive. 2 weeks later, on a quiet Sunday evening, Karen was walking her dog when she collapsed near the clubhouse. A sudden medical emergency dropped her to the pavement. Her phone, a brand-new smartphone, had a dead battery. Panic spread fast. A few neighbors froze. Others fumbled with their own phones, struggling with weak signal near the building. That's when Frank, watering his small garden nearby, heard the shouting. He didn't run for help. He didn't hesitate. Frank flipped open his outdated phone. Within seconds, he was connected to emergency services. No passcodes, no updates, no apps crashing. Just a clear line and a steady voice explaining exactly where Karen was and what was happening. Paramedics arrived in under 5 minutes. Karen survived. At the next HOA meeting, she sat much quieter. No smug smile. No sarcastic remarks. When Frank walked in, she stood up, something no one had ever seen her do before. "I owe you my life," she said, her voice tight. "And I was wrong." The board rescinded Frank's fine that night. Not quietly, publicly. The so-called technology standard was removed from the rules entirely. Frank didn't say, "I told you so." He simply nodded, folded his hands, and sat down. After the meeting, a few neighbors asked him why he'd kept such an old phone for so long. Frank smiled softly. "Because when things go wrong," he said, tapping the flip phone, "simple still works, and no one in that room ever mocked outdated again."